Siffe tugamba naye biri mu ssemateeka, waliwo n'etteeka ya Uganda Human Rights Commission. Nga gavumenti tetweyingiza mu mirimu gya Human Rights Commission egya buli lunaku, egya day to day, kubanga oluusi executive branch ate gye basinga n'okuloopa mu maaso ga Uganda Human Rights Commission. Osanga oba ab'amagye oba abapoliisi balina kye bakoze. N'olwekyo tulina okuleka Uganda Human Rights Commission ekole emirimu gyayo nga tetugiwaliriza, ate nga si ffe tugifuga naye nga erina okukolera wansi w'amateeka awatali kuwalirizibwa. Okubeera independent tekitegeeza nti tebakugambako, balina okugambako. Auditor General bateekwa okukebera wa ssente we ziraga. Parliament erina obuyinza okusamoninga omuntu yenna ajje yeewozeeko kasita wabaawo ensonga, n'ebitongole ebirala. Kati nze nga minisita emirimu gyange ku lwa gavumenti kulaba nga ssente weeziri tuziteeka mu bajeti basobole okuweereza, naye tetuyinza kubeerawo mu ofiisi zaabwe bulijjo timukole bwe muti mukole bwe muti. Ekyo kye bayita independence. Naye ekya accountability kiri mu mateeka. Buli muntu alina okuwaayo alipoota. Ky'oba olaba nti alipoota ya Human Rights Commission ejja buterevu mu Parliament, tegenda mu Cabinet. Nze nandisabye Parliament batunuulire ebizibu ebiri mu Uganda Human Rights Commission ng'omukisa ogutuweereddwa okujjanjaba ekirwadde, kubanga singa endwadde zezireeta bubonero oba symptoms, singa tetuzijjanjaba, naye buli kirwadde oba obulwadde bwonna bwonna buleeta obubonero obulaga nti omuntu mulwadde. Kati bino ebintu ebiri mu Uganda Human Rights Commission tubitunuulire nga symptoms eziraga nti waliwo obulwadde. Kati symptoms ziwa omusawo omukisa okujjanjaba obulwadde obuliwo. Nze siina kutya kwonna kwonna nga minisita wa ssemateeka ne Siga Eddamuzi nti guno mukisa munene nnyo ffenna okukwatira awamu. Ky'oba olaba nti n'ebigambo chairperson wa Human Rights Commission bye yayogera mu busungu yazze ne yeenenya eri banne, naye bino byonna byonna biraga nti buli kintu kiyinza okwesigama ku mateeka, naye kisingira ddala kyesigama ku bukulembeze n'empisa z'omuntu, karakita. Ekyo kikulu nnyo. Osobola okuba nga omanyi amateeka gonna gonna, naye waliwo empisa z'olina okuba nazo. Ekizibu ekibadde mu Human Rights Commission, abamu bammemba bagamba nti babaleka wabweru we wabeerawo enkiiko egisalawo. Ky'oba olaba nti tebakola nga ttiimu, bandize wano bonna bonna nga beekutte mu ngalo, naye wabeerawo ekiwaayi ekyesowolayo ne kyogera ebyayo. Kati engeri gavumenti gy'erina enteekateeka okugatta commission ya equal opportunities ne Human Rights Commission, kino kijja kutuwa obudde okusunsula mu bantu abasaanidde, ate tuleme kunenya pulezidenti yekka. Pulezidenti ye geeti esooka, naye waliwo geeti ey'okubiri gye bayita Parliament. Kati bwe bayita mu kasengejja ka pulezidenti baleme kuyita mu kasengejja ka Parliament. Naye tetuyinza kunenya pulezidenti yekka, kubanga na wano mu Parliament waliwo akasengejja. Ekyo tukikolako. Kati amateeka gonna gonna weegali mu gavumenti eno eyakaggwako, buli kimu twali tukikoze, era tujja kujja mu maaso ga Parliament kirudde kubanga kyetaaga kutereza ssemateeka ate omanya amateeka g'okuteekawo ennongesereza mu ssemateeka ate kijja tutwalira obudde naye nga enteekateeka yo weeri.
Submission ya minisita tebeerangako teyinza butabeera useful. Kyayogedde kye kituufu. Bw'otunuulira article 51 eteekawo Uganda Human Rights Commission, it's an independent institution, yeetongodde, naye minisita ate naye kyakkiriza wano mu lukiiko nga twogera nti aginako obuvunaanyizibwa bw'okuwa gye bayita supervisory role. So supervisory role tetegeeza kuyingirira mirimu gya day to day work, naye alinako mandate gy'abadde akola nga ministry era abadde bagikola bulungi. Kyetulengedde mu kyo nti waliwo obwetaavu bunene naddala okudda mu tteeka nga mukwano gwaffe apiyo bwabuuziza nti waliwo ekyetaaga okuterezaamu mu tteeka kisobole okuwa ebitongole bino ebimu ebyetengeredde okufuna supervision oba okulabirirwa okulondoolwa obulungi okusobola okukola emirimu gyabyo. Ngenda kuzzaako emabega nabadde ntunuulira ow'ekitiibwa General Katumba Wamala statement gye yabadde akola ku UNRA, yeefaananyizaako n'ow'ekitiibwa Norbert Mao statement gyakola ku Uganda Human Rights Commission nti ogwaffe gwa kubeera eno ne tulengera nga abakubira train baayi naye ffe tetuyingirayo yadde nga biri waffe. Kyendowooza nti kyabulabe nnyo naddala mu kiseera kino nti enguzi eyitiridde n'enkola ey'emirimu eyagadibe nga lye mu gavumenti. So kyetaaga okudda ku nnono twetegereze wa we twasoba mu mateeka naddala agateekawo ebitongole bino ebimu nga bye twogerako Uganda Human Rights Commission. Kubanga siyinza kubanga nze minisita owa Justice and Constitutional Affairs ng'ogwange gwa kulondoola ebimu ku byennondola ye human rights naye ngamba naye ate beetengeredde. Ekyenjawulo mu kukola emirimu independence of these commissions mu kukola emirimu gyagyo nti ensala gye tuwa nga waliwo azza okuwaaba ewaffe gavumenti eteekwa ogiyingiramu ne tugamba musale bwe muti oba nedda, naye tekitegeeza tetulina kutunulayo ne bwe muba nga mutandisa okweyisa nga abatalina buvunaanyizibwa tugamba afe abo tetulina bakwatako bali independent. So ekyo kyawukana nnyo. So nkwadde ebyokulabirako ebya ministries ezebbiri, ministry ya works, minisita wagamba nti nali ndi eno nga nnengera bulengezi noono nga naye agamba nti nze ndi eno nga tebinkwatako. So waliwo obunafu obwo and I think tulina okudda ku drawing board tugezeeko okubutereeza oba oliawo rationalization kyeyajja okutereeza kuba ne minisita kyatugambye leero ekyali kizze luli naye nga tekivuddeyo bulungi ne tukigoba nti rationalization etegeeza okugatta Human Rights Commission ne Equal Opportunities Commission tufune ekitongole kimu kubanga eri right mweri. So tujja genda nga tutereza ebintu ebyo mpola mpola. Kuwena ensonga ya Uganda Human Rights Commission batuleetedde documents mpitirivu nga bwe mulabye omukulu accounting officer mpadde technical team yaffe ewiiki emu ebeere ng'etuwa report ekwatagana ku ebyo bye twasaba, then mu maaso awo tugenda kuyita chairperson wa Human Rights Commission ne bakomishona be tusobole okubeerako n'olukiiko olwawamu nabo tusobole okulaba nga tusobola okugonjoola ebizibu ebiriyo naye era mu kiseera kyekimu bwe tuba tetubasobola kutuula wamu ne twogeragana nabo ffe tugenda kukola report eri parliament mwe tugenda okuteeka ne recommendations zaffe ezimu.
The tribunals and the delays and the availability of resources. I wish to admit, Mr. Chairman, that the lack of resources has undermined the institutional capacity of the Uganda Human Rights Commission. Nevertheless, the existence of budgetary constraints does not relieve an institution of the responsibility to account. It is not enough to say the money I'm given is little, so therefore even if I don't account, however little the money is, you must account for it fully. We want to pledge as government that we shall continue working with you as Parliament to ensure that the Commission is adequately resourced to perform its constitutional mandate. Incidentally, the work of the Human Rights Commission extends to all vulnerable groups. As I close, I now wish to talk about accountability and the role of the oversight functions. Most of the opinions that have been formed about dysfunctions in the Uganda Human Rights Commission has been based on allegations which have not been subjected to any due process. And that's why this hearing before this committee is very important. People have witnessed televised reports of accusations and counter-accusations by commissioners and the chairperson, emotional outbursts, allegations of financial impropriety. The position of government is straightforward. No institution is above the law. The law requires accountability, and that's why we are here to support the process you have initiated. Sometimes the Auditor General issues reports, and where the Auditor General requires explanation, it must be given. Sometimes Parliament requires clarification. The institution must provide it. Where the IGG or the Inspectorate of Government is exercising its mandate, that process must be allowed to proceed independently. And where there are allegations of individual wrongdoing, investigations must be carried out by competent institutions. As government, we will not obstruct legitimate investigations, and we will not even prejudge their outcome. We are not here to defend any individual. We are merely here to say everybody has to account to the Parliament. Now, allegation does not mean the proof. Unfortunately, in the world in which we live, dominated by social media like TikTok, X, and Facebook, judgment comes before presentation of evidence. So, let us investigate, let us find proof, then judge. The only caveat we can add, that no institution can invoke constitutional independence to shield itself from lawful scrutiny. Now, our position as government. Third, the independence does not exempt the Commission from accountability for public resources. They also have to account for their administrative conduct. Fifth, concerns regarding the internal administration of the Commission should be addressed through constitutional and statutory mechanisms that are provided. Number 6, we have a duty to protect the rights of those who lodge complaints before the Commission. The Commission has a duty to conduct fair, impartial, and above all, timely processes. 7, and finally, Parliament is entitled to exercise oversight over all public institutions, and it is our duty as government to respect that mandate. And that is why the government will continue to support measures that strengthen the institutional capacity of the Commission. And this support is through adequate financing, staffing, and effective system for disposing cases. As a way forward, we understand the inquiries that are being undertaken by competent authorities. We urge that this committee speeds up its work so that your report can also be forwarded to the appointing authority. He will know what to do. That's his constitutional mandate. And when he seeks our input, we will give it. I want to end on a positive note, Mr. Chairman. This is actually, I'm very happy that these things are happening. Yes. The current situation gives us an opportunity to find the weaknesses. For those of you who live near lakes, until the boat starts to leak, you will not repair it. So this is an opportunity to address the individual allegations, but more importantly is to strengthen the institution. I'm confident that the Uganda Human Rights Commission will emerge stronger after this episode, because the weaknesses are now in the full glare of the public. We now propose the following measures. The Commission should ensure that its decision-making processes are according to the law and the Constitution. In other words, an institution which is established to check arbitrariness cannot itself be arbitrary. Number 2, the Commission should abide by the principles of natural justice. These men and women in uniform are normally bashed one-sidedly. In fact, it's enough to be accused. The moment they say, soldiers came and beat us up, nobody wants to know what actually was even the circumstance of the case or the truth of it. So we will insist that there should be natural justice. The Commission should strengthen its internal governance and institutional mechanism, especially to ensure collective decision making. These quarrels in the Commission are because some members of the Commission feel excluded from the decision making process. In Parliament we have a plenary. You can choose to attend or not. But once plenary has taken a decision, we are all included and we are bound by the decision, because all the doors are open for us to go there. The problem in the Uganda Human Rights Commission, there are those who have been accusing the leadership that the decisions are made in cliques. So we insist that we should go back to collective decision making. We also propose that dealing with human rights complaints should be systematic, and they should also be prioritized according to the urgency and vulnerability of the persons concerned. When people disappear and there are video recordings, those are the most urgent cases. In fact, the reason why we have the 48-hour law, it is because the liberty of a citizen is the most important thing. No citizen should be denied of their liberty beyond 48 hours. We also propose that there should be adequate facilitation to the Human Rights Tribunal. We want to strengthen the administrative accountability mechanisms. And if there are problems with the staff of the Human Rights Commission, they will be subjected, and that we can do administratively. They should be taken through a performance improvement program to be monitored. We also submit that parliamentary oversight and investigation by other authorities should be acted upon. Parliament, the government, and the Commission should continue engaging constructively so that the lack of resources do not compromise the discharge of the Commission's constitutional mandate. We remain firmly committed to preserving the independence of the Uganda Human Rights Commission, strengthening its institutional capacity, ensuring accountability in accordance with the law, and safeguarding the confidence of the Ugandan people in this one of the country's most important constitutional institutions. This is not just, excuse me, this is not merely a legal obligation. It is a constitutional duty and an essential pillar of Uganda's democratic governance. I beg to submit, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honourable Minister. Honourable members, we have plenary at 2 p.m.
But also to add on the list, which you may be preparing for, is about the way the trial, which is in court. I'm aware we are not supposed to interfere. We must be seen to look at them as they are adjudicating their matters, but the extent of chasing away the public without providing alternatives, how the public should be following in that case, looking us also as MPs, as lawyers in that BSJ case, it puts the judiciary into a certain corner to be seen as biased. That is issue number one, Honourable Minister.
You have another point?
Yes.
Okay. Is this about
also, Honourable Chair,
Commission this time?
Honourable Chair, through the Minister, we have just had among the entities which are under you is the Electoral Commission, and I'm aware you followed what transpired across the country. We expect some presentation and some alternatives you are proposing in that direction. They told the people to petition. Are they going to hear those petitions? We need some answers around the elections which took place, the L1 elections.
Thank you. The Shadow Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. I think that was a light whisper to your colleague in line away from the Uganda Human Rights Commission. And I'll ask the Minister not directly to respond to that today, but to prepare for Thursday, like he said he wanted to whisper to you. Now, honourable members, we have plenary at 2. I will only request that we stick to the matters of Uganda Human Rights Commission, and once we are done with those, we shall wait for Thursday. Can I request the Congresswoman to make a statement?
Much. Thank you, Chair. I would like to thank the Honourable Minister for his submission. Thank you, Honourable Minister. You've considered that there's a leadership crisis at the Commission, but also you've underscored the fact that the Commission is constitutionally independent in carrying out its functions. I take that. But also, you can't run away from the fact that your ministry has oversight responsibilities for the legal framework governing constitutional bodies, including the Human Rights Commission. A quick question. Are there any gaps, perhaps in the Human Rights Commission Act or related laws regarding the management of disputes, for example, among commissioners? And if so, what reforms might government intend to propose so that we sort out the issues once and for all? Thank you.
Thank you so much. As you see, I started with the NUP, went to UPC, I'm going to FDC.
Then Pierre.
You have anything to say, FDC?
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister, for your statement. It at some point left me tongue-tied, but I nonetheless want to ask you. I know under international generally, it's the obligation of government to facilitate and create an enabling environment for the enjoyment and protection of human rights. This Uganda Human Rights Commission is one such constitutional commissions that are created to facilitate this. I appreciate the need for it to remain independent and for you to exercise so much restraint to dive into the matters of their management. But I also appreciate that you share my pain as a citizen on the way and the manner in which complaints are dismissed and handled. Because I listened so intently to you, Honorable Minister, speak about the duty of the Commission to protect complainants. And they are currently not able, right now, Honorable Minister, the Commission is not able to conduct any business. No business at all. These commissioners cannot even sit in a room together to handle any business. And we have, in my view, we are faced with an extremely difficult human rights situation in the country, which you're very well aware of. As much as you cannot, you have to do everything with restraint. Parliament also can only recommend. Is this a bird flying on its own that we can't catch?
And I think that takes us to what the Congresswoman was seeking on how to make reforms. Now, the Honourable Peter will represent NRM.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you, Honourable Minister, for your submission. You have also admitted, and the members of the Commission also, when they came here, including the Chair, admitted that the Commission currently is dysfunctional and in a crisis. Basically, they cannot execute their mandate when at the same time we are having a lot of human rights issues, because the Commission admitted that they last met together as a Commission on 9th March of 2026. So 5 months down the road, they have not done that. And that is impacting on the suffering of the public, because where do they go? How will their issues be handled? And since the Commission seems is failing to do its duty as currently constituted, as the ministry which provides oversight, don't you think something should be done to save Ugandans instead of protecting the members of the Commission?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's hear from the Shadow Attorney General.
Mr. Chairman, I will be as brief as my height. I've been guided by you. Mr. Minister, the chairperson of the Uganda Human Rights Commission recently stated that the executive treats the Uganda human rights as a dumping ground for political rejects. As the minister, do you agree with this characterization of the Constitutional Human Rights Commission? Secondly, Mr. Minister, why have you allowed this vital constitutional body to collapse into a total gridlock under your watch? Mr. Minister, while the Uganda Human Rights Commission remains completely paralyzed by the internal fighting, state torture, illegal detention, among others arising, Honorable Minister, would you comfortably, without fear of any contradiction, say that the government in power respects human rights, when you have allowed the single constitutional body meant to protect citizens to rot into absolute irrelevance?
Thank you.
The last one, Mr. Chairman.
I'm afraid we are running out of time. We have plenary.
1 second, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman.
That was supposed to be Kungu's opportunity,
Yes,
so use
yes.
it.
He has advocated for fair hearing to security organs, among others. But recently, when one of the lawyers of Dr. Chiza Besigye sounded that he intended to serve the CDF with the summons to defend himself in respect of human rights violations. A few moments later, that lawyer was kidnapped, taken to basement, was held incommunicado and tortured. Later on, he was presented in court after that torture.
Where did you get those facts?
I've been following, Mr. Chairman. I've been watching
From
news.
social media.
Order.
From social media.
Order, Chairman.
Okay.
Chairman, order.
Honorable Deputy Chair, please make your statement.
Honorable Minister, the Human Rights Commission is a quasi-judicial body that you say it is impartial. It's supposed to be impartial. As opposed to best practices in the judiciary, when putting membership, constituting the Judicial Service Commission actually scrutinize, vets, and even this parliamentary approval. Do you think, given the sensitivity of the work that they do, that is judicial in nature, and also we are seeing situations where the secretary, the lean technical team has to deal with so much, do you think it is time to also take these guys under the judiciary as a sort of a tribunal, like the similar treatment, funding and other things? And then maybe finally, you say the annual reports, which I think is presented, should be presented to Parliament by the line minister. I don't know whether some of these things were captured in the annual report, some of these problems. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, Honorable Minister, I also have a lot of issues raised. But because you're coming back on Thursday, today only respond to those relating to the Uganda Human Rights Commission.
Chairman, you haven't given me a chance.
Others which are outside what is presented here,
yes,
please preserve them for Thursday, because you only have 3 minutes to respond, because we have
Chairman,
for
the independents.
No, we have plenary. I beg.
All parties have spoken. The independents.
I insist that we respect plenary time. Please.
But independents haven't spoken.
Mr. Chairman, on Thursday I'll be able to respond in detail to many of the issues that have been raised by the honorable members of this committee on matters that are outside today's hearing. I do believe that independence does not mean a body operates in isolation. The Honorable Adeke said, is this a bird flying on its own that we cannot catch? Like, to use the same analogy, if you have an aeroplane, it must be linked to a control tower. This actually is the control tower, the Parliament. That's why the report is presented to Parliament and not to the executive. I also believe that the statement by the chairperson characterizing some of her colleagues in a derogatory manner may have been made in anger, and there may have been reactions. Mr. Chairman, not all of us can withstand pressure the same way. There are some of us who are built differently. We can deal with pressure, but some people may not be able to deal with pressure. But ultimately, what comes out of you when you're under pressure is what you are. What comes out of you when you are squeezed is what you contain. Leadership requires that you know how to deal with pressure. These statements were extremely unfortunate, and as a politician myself, I feel offended because some of the most distinguished people who have been appointed to commissions were politicians.
Honorable Minister, for the record,
she apologized in this committee for those statements.
I think she needs to apologize to her colleagues. And also, the appointment of members of commissions is not exclusively in the hands of the president. You have a checkpoint here in Parliament. So you cannot accuse the president if this checkpoint cannot stop somebody who is unfit. So Parliament shares the responsibility with the appointing authority. You are the gatekeepers also. There are many times we have looked at the law and refused to clear certain people. I was in this Parliament when we rejected the appointment of General Salim Saleh.
It's different now.
You can change that, and I think you can. Lastly, Mr. Chairman, even though the Uganda Human Rights Commission has problems, there are other bodies that can deal with it. Let us assume that the Uganda Human Rights Commission is the brake, but there are also handbrakes. So it doesn't mean that human rights can no longer be protected. We have got the Inspectorate of Government, we have got the courts, and we also have this house, Mr. Chairman. So you are urging us to get involved. I have listened to the chairperson. For the record, the chairperson was my classmate. I've known her for decades. And some of the members, the chairperson of the commission, they are also members of the commission who I know. But now, the government rationalization program is going to combine the Uganda Human Rights Commission and the Equal Opportunities Commission. So this body is going to be reconstituted. And I can only now urge the Parliament in the exercise of its role as a gatekeeper. The Appointments Committee really has got to up its is there with your names, and people will say, what sort of people were in this house when these things were happening? I trust, Mr. Chairman, in your leadership and the leadership of this committee on these very important issues. I regret that we have reached where we are. It is regrettable that we have reached where we are. And on Thursday, I will say more about some of the other issues of concern. But I insist that we look at the problems in the Uganda Human Rights Commission as an opportunity for us to